Hi, welcome back to another episode of the T in the Net. The T representing Uncle Iroh, and the Net is the Apostle Andrew. These are characters that I think are adventurous, wise, kind, and they make everyone better for having interacted with them. So this is Clint. I'm Mika. Um, Clint is someone that Benny recommended I talk to. Benny specifically praised Clint for his kindness, his generosity, the fact that he's the life of the party, and that he's willing to go more than the extra mile to help. Quite literally more than the extra mile. He references that you drove him like 8 hours in the middle of nowhere, Pennsylvania. So
Yeah.
more than the extra mile to help those he cares about. So I was hoping to learn something about that from you. Like, does that align with your identity of yourself? Do you see that in yourself?
Yeah, my own one of the main tenets or pillars of my own philosophy, moral compass, or the way I do things is I take care of those that take care of me. Like you if someone gives you kindness, it's an obligation for me to pay it the same, if not more. So I value me and Benny's friendship, as well as all the other friendships and connections I've had, especially the ones that are still present in Massachusetts. But when it comes to like that specific situation with Benny, um, I may be busy, may have a lot of things going on. But when it comes to a friend that has a favor or asks something from me and I know I can do it, even though I'm busy, I will make the time for it. Because even for me, like I struggle with my own work-life balance because I'm in the transportation business and I work almost every day. But when it comes to friends in need, I always make the time. And and that situation with Benny, like I had a lot of extenuating circumstances that could have prevented me. I could have made excuses. I could have done that. But for me, I really value Benny to go that far.
Is Did someone teach you to be like that, or like how did you come to have this value system? Like, is that part of your upbringing, or did
Um,
you have a moment where you were just like, you know what, like it's worth it to do this for my friends?
mm. I've grown up in a generous family. Like not to say like we're well off or anything. 'Cause my mom's a teacher in the Boston public school system. She's a middle school teacher. My father, uh, by trade is a carpenter, but he works at a factory. So I work from a very blue collar family. And
Those are important jobs.
yeah, so no matter what we had growing up, it never felt like we didn't have enough to the point where we wouldn't give to other people in need. And that just extended towards my relationships growing up, whether at all levels, in middle school, elementary, high school, even now into I guess early adulthood. And I've always grown up around it. And what's helped with all those different levels is I've always had situations that's tested me to go the other way. And I always find those moments to be a good reaffirmation of who I am as a person and how I take care of others.
Yeah, that reminds me of I don't know who says this. Maybe it's Jordan Peterson. Maybe it's like Alex or Mosey or someone like that. But
Yeah.
it's like identity without evidence is just delusion.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, you build the body of evidence for your identity.
Yeah.
I'm curious, do you have a specific moment that came to your mind that was like that? Like when you just said, there have been moments where it was tested. Was there a specific moment that you felt like really affirmed that for you that came to your mind right now?
Definitely in the most recent memory is at my current position in transportation, specifically in the airport operations department. And when it comes to transportation, it's 24/7, it's shift work, and I work with a lot of older gentlemen. And this type of environment can prove to be toxic and it can make you toxic if you let it. And it's such a rat race, or people's always trying to one up each other. But I've always, whenever I sense an incoming, like I'm not so attack. I'm not trying to make this like, sound like super hostile or anything, but more so if I feel like the situation is heading in that direction, I always try to take a step back and remind myself like who I am, why am I here, and how can I take care of those that take care of me? Like I'm not going to put myself in a situation to get this guy in trouble or to get that girl in trouble. Or it's it's those types of moments because over here we this type of business we're always working in seasons, whether it's the summer season, we're working all the time, the winter season, the snow hits the ground, I'm at work. If we're always working in highly stressful situations. And given the current climate right now with air traffic controllers and and airlines going bankrupt and such, it's always a stressful situation out. But I always find myself sort of circling back and okay, let me regroup. Who can I take care of now? Who's struggling? How can I help them? Especially with my air traffic controller friends right now.
So there's something that you said twice that I'm curious about. You said explicitly said you take care of those who take care of you. But
Mm,
then I also heard you say that like growing up, your family was generous to those in need, and even your coworkers right now. I mean, you didn't. Maybe they do take care of you, but it's not clear that they do or not. But you
mm,
still choose to take care of them.
mm.
So, um, I'm curious, is that a dichotomy or like what is
Yeah.
like? Yeah, yeah. I guess I'm curious because th those sound a
Mm,
little bit contradictory. Where it sounds like, oh, you're willing to put in this effort for just a small subset of people who take care of you, but it sounds
mm,
like that's not the limit of who you're willing to take care of.
mm. Exactly that point because not necessarily all my the people that I try not to be picky with those that do me right, and I will in kind do them also right. Like if even if a person does me wrong, I always try my best to not reciprocate, you know? Like I'm not going to retaliate with something equally as mean or anything like that. Like for me, even what doesn't matter if they do me right. Like if they do me right, it's even more incentive for me to take care of them. But even if they do me wrong, I always find my way to just circle back and be like, okay, you know what? Maybe this person had a rough moment. These people are complex individuals. I try to see the humanity in their decisions and try to really, try to circle back and take care of them. Because at the end, like I work with these people, I see them every day, and I try to take in all those factors to really decide whether it's really worth investing my time and kindness in something. But more often than not, I'm not too picky or not too choosy with my type of moral compass because for me, even if they do me wrong, I'll still act in kind. Not because not because I'm trying to stand on like a higher moral ground or anything. That's nothing like that. It's more so I just wanna end the situation on my own terms. And if that terms is kindness, then so be
Interesting.
it. Yeah.
You said end the situation on your own terms.
Mm,
It's one of the things that I've been learning about recently is how like agency gives people a sense of like meaning and purpose in life. Like
mm,
more than anything else, it's like what percentage of my life I have agency on. So it's like even if I have no agency at all and my life is super tiring and exhausting, by adding things that give you agency, you can like add meaning and purpose. So like even though you don't reduce your workload at all, you might feel more energized because you feel like you have
mm.
agency and meaning and purpose. And it's interesting. So you said kindness is the way that you end things on your own terms, or at least usually, right?
Yeah.
So I'm curious, do you feel like that gives you a lot of meaning and purpose, or do you feel like you have a lot of meaning and purpose?
It meaning and purpose for me comes in waves. Like like I from day to day. it may not feel like I have meaning and purpose or direction at all. But it's those moments of kindness that really like remind me, okay, this is what it's all about. Whether it's okay, and it really comes down to my personal interaction with people, right? Like, yes, my coworkers are pretty inconsistent, and we all bicker, and we all fight, but we all figure it out at the end. But in transportation, especially at an airport, what helps me find agency and purpose is I like to get lost. Like in the lost in the sense, like in the physical terms too, because in when I step out the office, I stand in the middle of the terminal, and I'll just start helping people. I'll start giving them directions to different terminal. I start helping them with airline questions, baggage issues. And it's not necessarily my job, and I don't have to do it, but strangely enough, I still enjoy it just because it gives me that purpose that, like, yes, I'm in an office all day and I'm responding to emails and I'm responding to all these complaints from all these airline managers and all these higher up people. But when I come down from that and I go down to like what it's all about, helping these people being in this business, that's where I find meaning and purpose from day to day. If I start feeling low, because like I said, it comes in waves, right? Like if I'm feeling down, I'll try to do something that gives me that leaves people with a positive impact. Versus if I'm feeling high and I'm super busy and I'm dealing with a high stress situation that I can resolve, okay, that's another area that I feel some purpose and meaning.
Right? Yeah, I mean, cool. So you're referencing your job a lot. It sounds like you work a lot of hours. So
Yeah.
um, does your job ha are you is it a strong part of your identity, like what you do for work?
I believe so. I believe so. I'm I'm in aviation. I'm specifically an airport supervisor for Newark,
Okay.
for the Port Authority. And when working a lot, I've learned recently that working a lot means different things to different people. Like for me, working a lot is 1,000 hours of overtime. Because for
Okay.
me, I'm only at 800s for the year. And last year I finished at 900. And other people are like, that's a lot of overtime. And I'm like, no, not compared to the next guy. So I'm always thinking of in terms of my local, of my the people around me, not to like comparatively to everybody else that may be working as much as me, or if not the same amount as me. But yeah, no, there's working a lot. It's inevitable that it's become part of my identity because it seems like I can't switch off. And that is still one thing that I'm working on to like still to this day. But trying to find a proper way to switch on and off.
By switch on and off, you mean like oh the workday is done, let me go about the rest of my life kind of thing?
Yes, exactly that.
Do you work remotely?
No, no, no. I work at it. I get my
Okay.
steps.
Well, I mean, it seemed like you had some office work. I didn't know if it was like a 2, 3, like 2 days in, 3 days out or something.
No,
Whatever.
office work, like in my office, I'm doing my emails, and then I step out of my office. My office
Uh,
is like in the dungeon of the airport.
yeah, deep in the belly of the whale, huh?
Yeah, yeah.
Um, so, but are you coming in on the weekends? Because it sounds like you said you also don't really get days off, or like you work almost every day. You're working weekends?
Not on the weekends, if there's overtime, I'm more likely to pick it up
Okay.
because for some reason there's always overtime on the weekends, and I always find myself picking it up. Like my weekends are weird. They shift between Monday and Friday. It's like a sliding weekend. Like I have a weekend out of Monday, Friday. I have a weekend out of Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and it's just a function of my schedule. And depending on where my weekend falls, if it's like a Tuesday, Wednesday weekend, and okay, you know what? There's overtime, I'll pick it up. Not like I'm doing anything. But if it's a weekend that falls on like Friday, Saturday, or Saturday, Sunday, I'm like, okay, I won't do nothing. I'm just gonna stay home, just relax a bit, go into the city or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did sorry, because you said it is tied to identity. You're working on switching it on and off. I'm curious. Did was this something that you wanted to be in? Like, did you go out of your way to have your current job? And sorry, I didn't quite understand what your job actually was, but
Oh, yeah. So just a brief overview of what my job is. So I'm an airport supervisor for the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey.
okay,
And what that entails is I'm an extension of airport administration. So if there's anything wrong with the airport, I usually respond on behalf of the airport. And that problems may be like any structural issues with the building, any customer service issues that go beyond the scope of the airline ability to handle. Um, so anything that the airlines can't control that is within the purview of managing our building is what I'm as a terminal
okay,
supervisor. And that also extends into like the customs area, um, immigration, stuff like that.
okay,
And like for me, I used to be an airfield person too. Like I used to work on I used to drive around the runways and taxiways doing inspections, such like that. And what really started me in heading into this career was I actually interned for the Massachusetts Port Authority at Logan for about 6 months while I was going to school, and I was like, okay, you know what? This seems like a fun job. You know, I'm not tied to an office. I can walk around. I can drive around, and I can get lost. I can walk around. Help people do their passenger work and stuff.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just curious because like a lot of t not a lot. I mean, I don't know. I actually don't know, but it seems like a lot of people that have a strong like they have the problem of switching on and off, and they have this strong identity with their work. It's something that maybe was that they were working towards, right? Like
Yeah.
if you're a doctor and you work a million hours a week, like you probably spent like an eternity trying to be a doctor. Or if you're a software engineer at a big tech company, like that takes a lot of, like you have to want it generally. You don't like
Yeah.
fall there by accident. So I was curious because I mean I have no idea anything about your field. So I didn't know if that was something similar where you had to want this and you had to go work at getting this, and that's part of the reason it's part of your identity, like you had to shape some of your formative years to getting it or something. That's all. I was just curious.
Yeah. You definitely don't stumble here by accident. There's certain stepping stones that you have to get to before even getting this role. And because even then, people usually stumble upon this job. It's either you stumble upon it because there's like a sudden need and there's not enough people to do this type of work, or there's just high demand at a moment and you just have to sort of compete and you have to work your way towards it from college to like smaller airports to other airport authorities up to this position.
Is there like some airport authorities you'd rather be at than others,
Um,
like who's the Harvard of airport authorities, like, or the
Also, the airport authorities that are nice, like I said, the Port Authority in New York and New Jersey is a massive entity, man. Not only do they handle the Florida JFK Newark, they handle Teterboro, Stewart, they handle the GW Bridge, the Holland Tunnel, um, the Goethals Bridge. So they handle bridges, tunnels, and airports, as well as the seaports. So they're a large entity that has a lot of money making, money generating facilities. But comparatively, like Logan, they have about what Hanscom, Boston, and Worcester as the three main airports, and as well as they got the seaport as well as their port, I think. But yeah, they're a smaller entity. But over there, the good part about Massport is they don't have a lot of contractors. Meaning, like they don't. There's not. They try to keep all of their work in-house, hired and operated by Port Authority people. Versus the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey, they're heading in the direction they like contracting things. Like they like leaving the work to contract. And there's benefits to both sides. Like I'm sure the Port Authority management would prefer contractors versus hiring their own because hiring their own would be more comparatively be more expensive. versus Massport. Like they like to hire their own, but that sort of racks up a higher budget. And you can look all of our salaries up online, Massport or Port Authority included. Like all of our salaries are public because there's a certain part of our income from taxpayer dollars.
Hmm,
Yeah.
cool. That's interesting. So then, why do you have a hard time switching on and off? Is it actually? I'll just let you answer that question instead of.
Yeah. So I have a hard time switching on and off just because of the nature of my hours. Uh, I either work 8 hours, 12 hours, or 16 hours. And depending on my schedule, sometimes I only have time to come home and sleep. And when I say sleep, I mean like 4 hours and then get ready. And those are the times where I have a hard time turning on and off because all I'm thinking of is I open my eyes, I'm at work. I close my eyes, I'm at work. I don't really, it doesn't register to me that I've actually made it home where I can decompress, I can take care of my apartment, I can walk my dog. It just it doesn't feel like I ever even touched home, even if I am home.
Fair enough. I mean, yeah, there's nothing to switch on and off though at that point. Like,
Yeah, it's
if you're
like
if you're between a 16-hour shift and a 12-hour shift, and there's only just 4 hours in between them, like you there's you might as well just be in one long, whatever, 32-hour shift and just say you have a
literally,
nap in the minute, right? Like,
literally. I don't want to be the person to sleep in their car at work because there are some people that do that, but I'm like, I'm not going to do that because the quality of sleep is not going to be good. And
yeah,
then I want to be away from the airport. Like, I don't want to even think about planes. Like,
yeah, interesting. But yeah, because when you first said that you had a hard time switching it off, I thought I have a friend who works in big tech, and
yeah.
he hated remote work because everyone, like, the teams were distributed, so it's like when 5 o'clock came for him, like he would still be at, like, his desk was at home, and so it's
Mm,
like he'd get a message from someone. It's still like 3 p.m. So it's like that guy's in the middle of the workday. So he's just asking you questions, and then it's like once you read it, you probably have to respond, and then you have to do the thing. And then he would find himself working late a lot because, he couldn't like get out of work even though like he could, like even though he's allowed to get out of work, right? It's five
mm,
o'clock, and but then he finds himself working for 4 hours because he brought his laptop home, like his laptop's at home. And then so he always preferred to go into the office because, like, even if he did work late, when he
yeah.
left, he left. So it's like, yeah, I might leave at 6:30, but like, or 7, but like I left and now I'm going to the gym or whatever. I've got
Mm,
my phone for emergencies, but like there's no.
yeah.
But for you, it doesn't sound like that at all. Like it doesn't sound like you're taking the work home with you. It's just the work is scheduled poorly in a way that doesn't give you a chance to decompress, right?
Yeah. And when it not to say that when it's busy I can't turn off, but when it's the downtime when I say downtime, it's when I have a good stretch of just 8 hour days with like no overtime available. Because then it's actually really easy to turn off because nobody calls me about work or nothing. Because I leave my radio at work. I have my duty phone, my work phone. I leave it at work. I don't even respond to no emails. I have no Teams log that I have to monitor or anything like that. So in that case, when it's super downtime, sort of in the I guess in the spring, spring is a good downtime for us. It's easier then to turn off. It's just really once the summer happens, the summer, and then Thanksgiving, then Christmas, then New Year's, then winter, and then it's busy. It feels like it's busy 8 months, 8 to 9 months out of like a 12-month year.
Yeah. Well, I'm wondering if that's like the nature of the beast. Like, it doesn't sound like
Yeah,
this is like a you problem. It doesn't sound
yeah.
like Clint struggles with switching it on and off. It sounds like airport work struggles with having work-life balance.
Yeah, yeah.
Right, like,
It's just how it is with this industry. But what's good about this position is the ability to take time off and how flexible it is. Because it's either I can get paid out for those overtime hours, all that like just time and a half, or I can convert that to a compensatory time. So let's say I could work like an 8 hour shift, 8 hour overtime shift. That would convert to like time and a half, but I can turn that 8 hour shift to 12 hours regular time, and I can put in a bank. And I have up in that bank, I can put up to 240 hours overtime, and I can use that in lieu of my vacation time allotment. So if I work a lot of overtime plus my vacation time, I could probably take a solid 3 months off in the year. And I do have coworkers, older coworkers, that take like a month off at a time. They just work a lot of overtime, take time off. Work a lot of overtime, take time off. So that's a way to do your own sort of personal work-life balance, like finding a way to just turn off completely for a whole month. But it really depends on how the timing of that overtime falls on you.
Sure.
Yeah, yeah, man.
Oh. Um, so I'm wondering, is there I'm wondering if there's anything that you think you can teach me right now.
Okay. In terms of what, like life direction or
Well, I don't know. I mean, so like you have a set of, I mean, you live a very different life than me. I also I grew up in Massachusetts, not quite. I assume you know Benny from Quincy.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So I grew up in Bridgewater, which is more rural than Quincy is. But
That's where I went to
I,
school.
oh yeah, nice.
Bridgewater
How'd you like
State.
that? Yeah,
Let's
how'd you
go.
like that? Yeah. Yeah, I grew up a couple miles from there. And then I went to Northeastern, became a software engineer, and now I work from home. This is like my lunch break right now. I'm at home. Um,
Nice.
so and then yeah, now I'm like I'm an office worker. I don't move around at all. Um, and I've never moved really, except I moved from Bridgewater to Boston, and then I've been here since.
Yeah.
Um, and then yeah, Benny thought you would be, and I did like what you had to say about kindness and your identity, and I thought that was interesting how it tied into agency, meaning, and purpose. I'm curious, do you have other like principles that
Hmm.
you think you learned from your life experience, or that you think are worth discussing or like exploring?
Yeah, so one thing that especially with how quickly things change at the airport, I try not to assign things good or bad.
Okay,
Like I'm not quick to label things as good as bad when hearing of things. I usually just try to any situation that comes towards my way, I try to take as neutral as a stance as I can. And I allow the situation to determine whether it's good or bad. And ultimately, even when the situation ends, I don't even label it as good or bad. I'm just glad that it happened. And I do it that way because I don't want to frame a moment as like bad and treat it as bad and try to come from a place of negativity and try to solve a situation out of that sense of like of that automatic frustration that comes from labeling things immediately as bad. And vice versa. I don't want to label things as good because I'm just my expectations are gonna be like, okay, this situation is gonna be great, by this, that, and then it ends up disappointing me. So it's really just managing my own personal expectations going into a moment, and that's why I don't like label things good or bad. Like example, right? There's plenty of things at work that come. Like, oh, we have a. Like, I used to do a lot of emergency stuff. There's a disabled aircraft coming in on the runway, right? We had an alert to potential aircraft emergency, right? And immediately people go like, okay, that sounds pretty bad. Like, like usually when people think of aircraft emergencies, they're like, okay, that's pretty bad. Like, yeah, I don't know about that, Clint. It's like I don't know how you can say that's not bad. But the thing is, I'm not saying it's bad. Neither nor am I saying it's good. I just want to be neutral so I can really focus on solving the issue at hand. Because the only thing that I can benefit out of managing my expectations is really being able to solve it in a in an unbiased lens, but also I can just learn from it at the end. And whatever mistakes I can, whether it's good or bad, I can just straight learn from it. But that's why I like don't label things good or bad, no matter the situation. I really try to do everything as neutral as I
I think there's wisdom in that. It does remind me. Um, it's like a proverb. I don't know, like the actual origin. Like you probably heard, you may have heard of it, where it's like, um, this guy, like this farmer finds like a wild horse, and everyone's like, oh my goodness, like wow, it's so great that you just got a free wild horse. And then his kid like breaks his arm while trying to ride it, and they're like, oh my God, that sucks. Your kid broke his arm while trying to ride the wild horse. And every time they're like, yeah, it's like, I don't know if it's good or bad. I don't know if it's good or bad. Then the military comes and then they're like, okay, well, we got to draft this guy. And like, oh, the kid's got like a broken leg or whatever. So it's like, oh, like, we're not going to take your kid. And they're like, oh, that's awesome. Like, isn't that great? And he's like, I don't know. Like, we'll see. Like, is it good or bad? I don't know. And then they won the battle and all the people came back and then they were all like they all had this glory and then they're like, oh, it sucks that your kid couldn't be a part of it because he broke his leg. He's like, I don't know, like is it good or bad? I don't know. There are there are people who tell that proverb better, but I think it's interesting. It's the same kind of idea, right?
can.
Where it's you don't want to label something good or bad without seeing the consequences of it. Uh, but it sounds like you don't even want to label it good or bad even after the thing happens. You just said, "Oh, you're thankful for it," which I find
Mm.
interesting
I'm
because
thankful that it happened.
you're thankful that it happened. I find that interesting because like there's some things like that are just bad. Like
Yeah. Yes,
like
yes. Not to deter from things that are truly bad and malicious and such like that. Like those things should be called out as such. But anything, any degree less than that, then I try to put it up as like a glass half full type of situation.
yeah, you were saying um not to deter from things that are actually bad, but you're saying generally taking a glass half full kind of approach. Um, so you're saying basically on anything that could have positive or could have negative elements, you generally treat it as neutral. Is
Yeah.
that correct? Okay.
Mm.
Do you do you feel like there are negative consequences to doing that? Like, or do you think it's
Oh
just
yes.
okay?
The main negative consequence that I find from this approach that I've seen and personally have felt is I downplay a lot of things. Like there's a tendency to assess the severity of a situation not accurately because you're focused on like the neutral elements of it and trying to sort of to assess the situation based on its objective factors, and that may or may not like assess the situation as like assess it correctly. And that is a risk that I'm willing to take just because when it comes to these situations, I'm super vague with this. Yeah, it's like that's the only negative impact that I see because if you're not able to assess it accurately, then you may find yourself stuck in in a bit of a pinch because now you have a situation where you have a solution for it, but then you're like, okay, you know what, this might have been not good, been good enough, and you might fall short, and that's where you just learn your mistakes.
Do you feel like that happens often because of this approach?
Not too often, not too often. And I think that's just not, it doesn't happen too often for me, just because mostly things just work out. Like, people overblow a lot of things. There's a human tendency to just go to the maximum versus like the minimum of what the situation is. And and usually things just work out. There's no real like extreme negative consequence that I've personally have experienced from this approach.
Then the other question I wanted to ask is, do you find that this approach helps you like excel in these kind of situations?
Yeah,
Okay.
yes, it helps me excel because it allows me to be flexible. Yeah, I can make decisions on the fly, and it doesn't just lock out options for me. Like I'm open to any direction or any possibility. Because if I'm like example, right, there's a lot of security things that happen at the airport that like are constantly changing because of either recent security threats or changes in security codes and regulations. And there was a situation where we lost our door. Like there's a door we have in our office that leads out into like a secure area. Like what we call this the ramp, but most people call it the tarmac.
Okay.
And that door was really cool and really useful because we could go in and out of the airfield like lickety split. We had no issues with it. But then they changed it where we lost that door, but the door's still there. We just don't have access to it. And our office is like, oh my God, we lost our door. We lost our door. This sucks. Da, da, da. And I was like, yeah, but we have another door over there. Like, we have another door over there that's just as good. Like, just, I'm not gonna cry about this one door. Like, yeah, we lost its convenienceness, but that door's right there. And if you think about it, it's not that big of a deal because we have so many other options that we can do. And not like, and people are like, oh, it's an emergency door. We're like, what happens if there's a fire in this building? If there's a fire in this building, then we just bust through the door. Like the alarm's gonna go off. So there's there's always a way to look at things where people's concerns are just simply a waste of like thought, waste of space. And you don't have to like there's always a workaround. And it's not a big deal as people make it out to
Interesting. Because I was curious because you said like it lets you be more open. I was thinking that maybe your openness is what lets you do this, but this was an example where I'm not sure which is the chicken or which is the egg, um, where it's easy for you to act neutrally about it because there's another door, but is it because you're acting neutrally about it, you saw this alternative option easily, or because you saw the other alternative, it was easy for you to be neutral about it?
me.
I guess, I mean, they might just go hand in hand where it's like, because like, what if you didn't have that door, right?
Yeah.
Uh, or like, what if, or I don't know. I mean, I
Yeah,
don't know
but
what the equivalent is.
then if we didn't have that door, right? If we didn't have that door, and coming from my point of view, then why worry about something that hasn't happened yet? Like you shouldn't be scared of like a potential that may or may not happen. Like worry about it when it does happen. Like I try not to worry about the future too much, especially with that, because people are always catering to the what ifs. Like what if this, what if that? But then people forget about what if it never happens? Like what if, what if this situation is not an issue? And like people like to be proactive, and I understand that sense like oh you wanna make sure that you're always thinking ahead and this and that, but there are benefits to that, but sometimes it's exhausting given the situation. Like you can't always be thinking that way. Gotta be more relaxed.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I agree. Don't get me wrong. I would like to think that I'm also a go with the flow kind of guy.
Yeah.
I'll have to let someone else comment on whether that's true or not. Um, but I agree that having an openness to alternative situations and then not treating every negative situation like it's the end of the world are good things. We didn't talk about the other half of that though, where you don't take good things as, or you don't take the highs of the good things as much because you're taking a neutral approach.
Hmm.
And you said that was more about having disappointment and having high expectations for what otherwise could be a good situation.
Yeah, because what I find is if I have a positive, or if I think of things as good, a label thing as good, then it blinds me from the consequences from it. Because I'm only able to see like the positive factors of it. And there's always a consequence to an action, and I want to make myself open to be able to see those. And like I said, like we mentioned before, like I'm not it's at the position where it gets me off and stuck because I'm unable to accurately assess it. But it's even more so if I label things as good. If I label things as good, then I can't even assess it even more.
It's, I feel like I'm gonna need an example. I kind of understand what you're saying, but I feel like because
So like an
like
example, right? We
yeah,
have we have we have new guards at work.
okay,
We have new guards, and they're being like, oh, they're the best thing because it's gonna make your job a little bit easier. It's gonna they're gonna take uh they're going to take care of this certain job function, and they're gonna essentially just make it easier, make it good for you. Good, 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 good. And then I'm thinking like, oh, that's great. That's I see the positive in that. Like their ability to be in that situation, they can respond to things faster. There's extra staffing to the load of work on my end as well as the other guards that are present there is going to be lined up. So I only see the positive benefits of it, but I'm still keeping a neutral stance on them just because from this point, from a more neutral point of view, it's like, okay, they're there, but what are they taking away from another position? What are they're there, but what are they familiar with the environment? Like, are they going to be good at the job? Like how much training do they um how long do they need training until they feel comfortable? Or what risks are there that exist with these new people because they've never been here before? Like, how are they going to mesh with the airline people? Being neutral allows me to assess the the vacancies in training or vacancies in thought that they may have versus like, oh, they're good there because they're gonna make your life easier. They're gonna be great. They're gonna do this. They're gonna do that. But I'm like, okay, let me take a step back. I'm like, okay, they're great and all, but from especially in a union environment, a lot of these positions are unionized. When management is introducing a new party to this place, and it's catered to take away a job, taking away a job only lessens the power of the other unions that are present there because they feel like that job is one less thing that management can negotiate against them paying them more. So that's like the
okay,
consequence that you have to balance because over here in my position, I'm union, and the Port Authority has a bunch of other unions they have to balance, right? They have to work with the police union, they got to work with the maintenance union, they got to work with the transportation union, there's machinist union. There's plenty of unions that exist within the Port Authority that they have to manage, but all of these unions cost money, like a lot of money. And in a situation like right now, we're out of contract, right? So our future is still under negotiation. When it comes to positions like this that are taking away jobs, you have to sort of be a little bit neutral, borderline pessimistic about like, oh, because they give us this, what are they going to take away from us later? So things that may be outwardly positive to make your life easier at the moment may be a small knife becoming a big knife later on.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
So like the way I interpret yeah, like that's a good example, I guess, of something good that may not necessarily be as good as advertised. It sounds like there's two parts to that. It sounds like one, like there's like I don't know if this is not stock trading advice. I'm not very good at that. But it's like, it's like buy the rumor, sell the news.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah.
but it's just like you might get excited about hearing a thing and then but when you actually get the thing, it's not as good as it's advertised, right? Um, but that sounds like it's a marketing thing more than it is like the reality of a situation. And so the reality of the situation is generally worse than the marketing for it.
Yeah.
That's one. The other thing is um there's like a little bit of an adversarial thing where it's like the person introducing this good thing to you is someone who is actively working against some of your interests, right?
Yes.
So in that sense, well, if they tell you something is good, how much should you believe that? Because they're adversarial with you. Um,
Mm.
so that might be the nature of a lot of the good news that you encounter, because like at your work, and it seems like the work is a large part of where you're receiving good or bad news.
Mm.
I think there are lots of good things that it's fine to not. I mean, I guess you're saying like you were saying earlier with the bad things too. It's not necessarily like oh every bad thing. It's just
Mm.
like situations where like it feels like it could be bad. Um, you're treating it more neutrally, and so this is situations that you feel like could be good. You can just treat it more neutrally, um, and then it gives you a better perspective.
Mm.
It does sound like what you're saying is before you label it good or bad, you try and take a more objective mindset, and then usually you find that the situations are not good or bad.
Mm.
Is that fair to say? Because it sounds like you
Yeah.
do think there are just bad situations, and there are. I'm assuming I didn't ask you. I'm assuming you also think that there are just good situations.
Yeah. 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 There are
So
truly good situations that you should take as good and nothing else because if you start looking at things as it's good, but there's something bad about it, or it's bad, but there might be something good about it, you start to go a little crazy.
yeah, you just become delusional at
Right?
some point.
Yeah, you're still gonna get
Yeah.
delusional. So for the things that are truly good and the things that are truly bad, okay, that's what it is. It's
Okay. So it sounds like you're not taking everything to be neutral, right? Like you're not taking out all the spice of life,
no,
but
no,
you're
no.
taking an extra step to be like, this thing that's being t I'm told is bad is not necessarily bad, and this thing that I'm being told is good is not necessarily good. So it's like a little bit of like trust but verify kind of attitude that you have going
Mm,
on here. Yeah? Is that fair to say?
that's fair to say.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean that's a good approach to things. It's basically you're basically saying like don't be too reactive
Mm,
because you don't want to invest all your time having an emotional reaction to something that might not even be the appropriate emotional reaction for, right? Like I
yeah,
don't want to celebrate the guards because actually I'm gonna regret having the guards later, or I don't want to mourn the door because it has no impact. So why am I mourning
yeah,
the door? Yeah.
yeah,
Uh,
exactly that. And like I said, like people just, I've noticed that no matter what age group, because I've worked with older people, whether it's Gen Xers or Boomers. Like, over here, I've the the fabric of my office is so varied. Like it's I'd be hanging out with like 60-year-olds with like two divorces under their belts. I'd be hanging out with 30-year-olds that are still like struggling in the same situation as me, but they're in a bit of a better spot. And I'd be hanging out with dads that have the same age as kid as me. Like they have children my age. So we all be hanging out and stuff. And no matter what, they tend to have like fall through like the same pitfalls of just humanity, where it's like, okay, they like to overblow things, they like to label things as immediately bad, or things that are super positive, they're celebrating it. And I've learned this to sort of temper myself against all those emotions. Okay, you know what? That's good, but I don't know about that because over here they're sort of in a position that was like gifted to them, where they were just like, not only a product of their time, but they were able to access these resources at a time when it's easy to access, given they got into a job that I was able to afford them all this wealth. And and when it comes to especially the news over here, it's my office is super not super political, but the news just ends up reaching us because the airport seems to be like a dipstick, like a oil dipstick of how you find out like how quick news affects people, whether it's CBP affecting like the news of ICE is how it's affecting the airport, or air traffic controllers not getting paid because of the government shutdown, how it's affecting the airport. And and FIFA, right? FIFA's coming to the United States, where they're gonna have some games at MetLife Stadium, and the closest airport to MetLife Stadium is Newark. We have so it's a the airport itself is like a barometer of all these factors in the news that end up sort of getting concentrated, and you see the effects, if not almost immediately, at this scale, at the space. And it sort of invites those feelings of like celebration or negativity. And I always found myself like, you know what? Let's let's step back a little bit and try to manage ourselves a little better.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty reasonable. There, um, I guess there were two things that you said that I wanted to ask about.
Yeah,
One, you absolutely don't have to answer. So you're
sure.
saying that like some of the other guys were struggling, but not as much as you, or it sounded something like that. Are you okay? Like, is there
Oh yeah,
something that
yeah.
you're, yeah.
No, I'm doing good. Like I wish my finances were a little bit better. Like that's one thing I'm still working on. But that's just because of everything's becoming so much expensive around Jersey. Like around Jersey, everything's getting expensive. The amount of tolls I pay is a lot. Like I didn't expect it. So I've been calculating how much I would save if I just take the local roads, and I actually save a lot. So I've been taking that a lot lately. We're just taking local roads. I've been just avoiding any of the highways that have tolls in it.
Okay. All right, that's
Yeah.
good. The other thing I wanted to ask is, do you feel like that overreaction, um, is a human nature thing or a human experience thing? Like, do you think that there's some human experience that all of these people in your work have that makes them want to like overreact as much as you're saying, or do you think that's just naturally what humans do? Like, you think like everywhere you've ever been, this is where it's what it's like.
Um, I think it's a human experience thing. Just because not all of them, I'm not trying to make any assumptions about their lives here, because I only know what they're telling me. They're not going to tell me about anything deeper than that. But for the most part, a lot of them, they come from a lot of different places. We have a very diverse environment, not only in age, but in terms of ethnicity as well. And some of them, like I have an older guy that came from Macedonia, experienced the old Soviet Union, right? I've seen like Portuguese immigrants. They've grown up here, and they've experienced what it takes to become an American here. Um, Different religions, and I think it just may be just the human experience, because all of them may have different things that they've experienced in their lives, but their reactions tend to be pretty consistent, which I find sort of interesting because they like no matter where you came from, they always harken back to times where they've experienced a similar type of feeling. Like there's like they're talking about socialism in New York and how that's going to because Mamdani and they're gonna it's gonna be like old Soviet Russia. And I'm like, you're overblowing it a little bit there. Like, and it's like that type of that, equating it to their own extreme situations and not really, taking an objective approach or objective look on things.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, I guess it's like it's a little bit like wisdom is learning from your experience generally.
Mm.
But like and everyone lives life, right? So like everyone
Yeah.
has some amount of wisdom, but for some reason, some people are wiser than others, right? It's not like, like it's not just because you're 30 years old and someone else is 30 years old, you guys are at the same level of wisdom.
Mm.
Um, and I guess one of the things I'm trying to learn or I'm hoping to learn through this whole thing is like what does it mean to be wise? How do I become wise? Like
Yeah.
can I talk to people who are wise? And it what you're saying right now is actually almost how like these people's experience can make them like you can like the reliance on your experience to judge a current situation can almost make you foolish, right? It's like
Yes.
it can almost do the opposite, I think. So it's not like and like it's kind of obvious that just experience doesn't give you wisdom. It's like how you learn from it and how you apply what you learn to the future situations that gives you wisdom. And it's interesting to see how you're saying that a lot of the human experience can accidentally result in some degree of foolishness of overblowing things by making callbacks to situations that are not the same, but that just remind you of it, right?
Yeah, like false equivalency is a huge thing that I try to avoid in my own personal life after witnessing it with older people is they like to equate things that don't have the same degree of threat. and and when it comes to older people too, like I'm not trying to like just rash on old people in general, but I not I when they tell me something, right? Tell me like a situation that they've done that they learned from. I try to break it down as okay, you made a mistake, right? You made a mistake, just generally speaking, you made a mistake, but that doesn't define you. I want to know how you recover. Because for me, it's always about the recovery. I want to know how you recover. Because a lot of the times people it's funny thing with like with like dating advice, right? The guy that has had like many partners, like they're the person you should listen to. But then it's like, why should I listen to you? That sounds like many situations you could have bettered yourself, but it ended up not working out. Is it a you problem or is it a them problem? It's trying to see their recovery from those mistakes and what they learn from those mistakes that you try to assess, that I try to look at and I focus on.
Huh. I mean, I get you learn different things from different people, right? Like,
Yeah.
so some people you want to learn like how do I get another partner? You want to find the person who got a lot of partners because then they know how to get a
Oh, different
partner.
goals for sure.
Yeah, yeah. But then once you have a partner, you probably don't want to ask him for any more advice. You want to ask
Yeah,
someone who's been
yeah, yeah.
you want to
Literally.
ask someone who maintained the relationship for a long time.
Yeah, yeah.
Right, yeah. Uh yeah, false equivalency. I guess that's a good that was a very succinct way of putting that.
Yeah.
All right, I don't know what your hard if you had a hard stop or anything. I don't know what time you needed to go.
Um,
Uh
I'm good. I'm good in about 20 or so minutes.
okay.
Yeah.
Um so I'm wondering what so a lot of it sounds like a lot of what you learned came from like your parents and from your
Mm-hmm.
work.
Mm-hmm.
Is there, and I know you have more than that because obviously you were friends with Benny and um, and I think Benny's an easy friend to maintain. Thankfully, he's a good guy and he's
Yeah.
happy to take what you give and vice versa. But I'm sure there's more to your life than those two things. I'm wondering if there's anything that you learned from outside of those.
Mm. Outside of my parents and work, I've learned to I've learned a lot from my own friends too. Like like Benny, whenever Benny introduces me to or he talks about me to people, he always he may or may not mention this, but it's a big part of how we met at first. He knew me as the kid on crutches. Like I because when I met him in high school, I was always on crutches because I suffered two ACL tears in high school.
Oof.
Yeah, one in each knee.
Uh,
And he would always see me in the same spot. Like I would just go down, I would be crutching along, and you know, and that's I think one thing I definitely learned from is my own personal adversity in my own life with with two ACL tears because after the surgery, there's about 6 months of recovery, and then usually it's painful because for me they gave me oxycodone, they gave me oxys, and after I took one. I did not feel good. Like I don't know how people get addicted to this stuff, but it wasn't working for me because I was dizzy and in pain. I was like, I could not take. Like I did not feel good at all. And I remember I carried them around in my backpack as like insurance, just in case if I did feel like extreme pain. But for me, I'd rather be in pain than take those things. And not in the sense of protecting myself from being addicted, but I wanted to still feel my knee, even if it was pain. And and for me, the way that I deal with pain is I'd rather feel it than go away from it. To the point where I will sit through pain. Like example, right? When I first moved to Jersey and I finally got a paycheck and I was like, man, this is great. I'm getting paid like adult money now. It's awesome. But then I was like, man, I'm 20, I'm 25. I'm 24, 25. I need to do, I need to live my life a bit more. So first thing I did, I got a tattoo, but it was a big tattoo. I had an idea what I wanted. I talked to this tattoo guy. My first ever tattoo, I sat there in that chair for 7 hours getting my first tattoo because I was working on a sleeve. And for me, it was a good practice in how I manage pain. Because for me, I could have said stop at any moment. Like I could have been like, hey, let's take a break, let's take a break, let's take a break. But I made it a point to sit there and experience that pain. Because for me, I've wanted this tattoo for so long, and I'm meeting the moment now. I have to sit through it. Not only as a way to reaffirm myself that I really wanted it, but on the lesser end, this dude's $100 an hour, man. I'm not gonna take a single break. I'm not taking a single break, dude. So but and then so yeah, I just like sitting through pain, whether it was getting my first ever tattoo and I sat there for 7 hours, or even when I was on crutches for a good duration of time. I want to feel the pain because the pain is temporary, right? It only lasts for so long, and then eventually it feels better, and that's one way to feel like you've made progress in the situation because you'll feel less and less pain to the point where it's like, okay, you don't feel no pain anymore.
um, so I mean, you spoke about physical pain. Is this like an allegory for like all pain? Like, are you talking about
Oh yeah,
also
it's
like
it's
other?
it's it's an allegory for general discomfort.
Okay, so like you're willing to be like if you have like I don't know, you just find yourself in like I don't know what I was gonna say like emotionally painful, but it's not necessarily like the word that I want to use, but like we can use
Yeah,
that. Like you just find yourself in an emotionally painful situation, and you're just gonna be like, you know what, I'm just gonna hang out here, like
yeah.
yeah, like this person like pisses me off or they make me so angry or they really hurt me. I'm just gonna sit here and like engage with them still because I want to sit here with this pain of this thing or like
Oh, when it comes to that, when then it comes to that sort of pain, I have a different approach. When it
okay.
comes when it comes to that type of pain, I've learned to let go. And can also apply to me to physical pain too because the recovery for ACL tears, man, it's not only is it like physically painful, but it's also mentally painful because you're so immobile for that period of time. So emotionally, I was physically in pain as well. Like I was so drained because I had such a set schedule. I had to go to classes, and after that, I had to go take physical training, and then even after that, you wouldn't really necessarily see progress in a week, 2 weeks, or 3 weeks. You'd be in the same situation, in the same crutches. So for me, physical pain I can sit through, but mental pain, if I can manage it, I will. But if the second that I can just let go of it, I can get over it, I will let go. If that makes sense. Because for me, I categorize those two types of pain differently. Because physical pain is physical and I can manage that better than emotional pain or mental pain, anguish. Because for me, I try to let go of things. Like I don't I try not to hold on to things too much.
Uh, do you have like some sort of like Zen philosophy? Would you like say that about yourself? That you're
Yeah,
like,
yeah. I just let go. I let go a
huh?
lot. Yeah, and I've told that to people too because I was like, you know what? Am I the only one that does this? I seem a little crazy that, but I've found that people don't let go enough, you know? If they can, just let go. Not to say like you should just like give up. Don't give up. Like letting go and giving up are two different things to me. Like I'll never give up for certain things, especially when it comes to my goals and the things I want to do in life. But for the things that you have no net benefit from getting out of, like just let go. Like there's no need to hold on to that.
So I'm curious as to y- like what the line is. Like you said,
Hmm.
no net benefit from.
Like
I forget the
like if
the
a person wrongs you, right? If a person wrongs you and then you feel some type of way about it, just let go. Like it's no point in feeling that way about the person, even though they might have like wronged you like terribly. Like just let go. When it comes to
Do you have like a let go process or what's that? Because I think a lot of people would let go if they knew they could, but I feel like
yeah,
it's not so obvious because like you might just look at the person. Like you might be like, oh, like I've
it's just
forgotten about them or
automatic, right?
whatever.
It's on
Yeah, and
site.
then you just look at this person and you're just like this this son of a like, you know.
Yeah. For me, my process is I break it down to can I have I done have I has he done anything to me that physically hurts me right now still, right? Like if it's a situation that was on the side that was like quick and you sort of held on to it, okay, that's easy to let go because it's not really physically hurting you at the moment. Or there's like no real remnants of that pain. You're just feeling some type of way about this person. That's easy to let go. But when it comes to like stuff, like I can understand people sort of thinking that this person was a roadblock in their career and they sort of stopped them from progressing. Then I guess there's some sort of anguish there that you feel some sort of pain there. But there's always there's always a way around that. Like if whether there are roadblock there that you can't help and you can just let go of it, or you can there's always another path around the person or around it. So for me, I don't like holding on to things, but this is a personal thing too because I'm willing to let go of a lot of different things. or oversee, just so I can just not hold on to that weight.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know. It's hard to describe. I'm
yeah.
not sure if I'm doing a good job describing it, but it's like for me, I just don't like carrying weight. Like I don't like carrying baggage.
I mean, that's well. So the thing is, I understand it's complicated. That's why I wanted to know what your process was, because
Mm,
like there have certainly been moments where I thought to myself, well, why don't I just let go of this? Or like,
mm,
I should let go of this. And then I find myself like completely unable to. Like, just like, okay, like I haven't thought about them for a while. That's good. Um, and like not even consciously having that thought, but then like seeing something that reminded me of them or what they did or whatever will
mm,
can get me to have like a visceral reaction. And it's like, well, if that's the case, obviously I haven't let go at all. I just happen to be
mm.
able to ignore this specific problem. And like sometimes like maybe it is like a forgiveness thing. I don't think it is, but it's like sometimes people are like, well, if you just forgive them or something.
Oh no,
And
it's not a forgiveness thing.
yeah, I agree because
It's
it's just
not.
like it's
It's
not
not
even like
forgiveness.
it's not that I'm mad at them. It's like I'm still angry about or like it's still like it just the whole thing still like hurts
Yeah.
whatever they did, right? Like and so that's why I was wondering if you because if you seem so capable of letting go. It's scary. Like not that I would say I'm incapable of letting go, but maybe not so competent at it as you are.
Yeah. I don't know if I don't know if I really have a process of really letting go.
You just do
Because
it. You
like
just
not to say like people have wronged me and I haven't I wasn't able to really like let go of it immediately, right? I'm sure it's there's situations that I don't remember them now because it's been a while since it happened to me because I've been I mean I've just practiced it for so long. But I don't know. It's just I don't know if I really have a process of letting go because I'm thinking of like, okay, this person wronged me. Does it still hurt? If not, like, then what's keeping me from being tethered to this person's anything related to this person? And if I just try to break it down to the things that really matter to me, like, okay, is I don't want to ignore the person, because it still happened to you as an individual. Like it's still part of the fabric of who you are. Like it may have molded you to be make a small section of you, but for you, it's like I try to treat it as like a learning opportunity, right? Like, what did I learn from this type of person? Because he's not gonna be the first person, and he's not gonna be the last person that has wronged me for this. So how can I prevent this from happening in the future? And what are the factors that make up this person that I can avoid seeing in another relationship in the future? So you try to break it down as like the base ingredients of who they are and treat it as like a learning opportunity because those types of people you'll always meet no matter what situation, no matter what industry. And I've learned to let go of them because like you know what? You're not the first person I've seen doing this, and you're not going to be the last person. And you only get better once you find out uh what 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 those qualities are, and next comparatively to the next interaction that has the same qualities that you want to avoid, because you might end up in the same situation where they might have hurt you or not. And for me, I've learned to let go. Like after that, once I break it down to those few points, then okay, you know what? I'm over it. It's okay. Like it's not okay, but I've learned from it to avoid it in the future.
it sounds like you're if you have a process that your process for working through it is by dissecting it and treating it like a case study. And
Yeah.
then like that process of breaking it down and taking and dissecting it and taking what you can from it and leaving the rest is how you're effectively able to let go of harder things that are harder to let go of. Is that
Mm.
fair?
Yeah, it's fair. Yeah, I definitely like to break things down. Like I've almost like a scientific method of just testing out a bunch of things and then seeing what sticks.
Cool. Thanks.
Yeah.
I think this is close to the time that you said you had. Thank you so much for spending the time with me.
Cheers, man. It's
I
a good
really
talk.
enjoyed this. If I find myself near the Newark area, I'm gonna shoot you a text.
Let me know, man.
Uh,
For
uh,
me, New York, same shit to me. Like I can't,
okay,
I go anywhere, man. Like if you, for me, when it comes to people, right? If you let me know, I can probably show up because assume that I'm working every day, so don't plan for me. I'll plan
okay,
for you.
okay,
I make the time for people, you know?
okay. I mean, so one of my other guests is based in New York, and the guy who introduced me to him was also on this, and so I was hoping to meet up with him in New York at some point.
Oh, great.
When we do that, I'll shoot you a message if you want to join us.
All right,
Um,
man.
and based on our conversation today, if you have someone that you think I'd be able to learn from or you think would be a good fit for this, I would love it if you could put me into contact with someone, that I don't know that you think would be a good fit for this little journey I'm
Of
going
course,
on
man.
here.
Yeah, I'll start thinking about it,
All
seeing if
right.
who would be interested.
I'll be interested in talking to anyone. It's who you
Yeah.
think will be, who you think will be a good fit based on what we talked about.
Yeah, like I'll try to avoid recommending my coworkers with multiple divorces because
I mean, I'm sure they learned a lot from it. I
oh
hope that
no,
they
but
le
I think they learned the wrong thing. You know, remember that thing about learning from your mistakes? I don't know.
Thank you, man. It was really good chatting with you.
Likewise,
Have a good
brother.
one.
Bye.
See ya.